Watch Dr. Drew's new show at 9 on HLN. Weeknights on HLN.
Steve, the baby news coming from the New York Times. Does this add anything to your feelings about this case?
No, Dr. Drew, because anybody can have a baby. Doesn't mean you're in love. He had sex with his wife. Maybe they wanted to have a child, but they probably shouldn't because they're both too busy to actually raise a child effectively anyway. But no, like I said to Cameron earlier today, the number one thing in a man's biobehavioral imperatives is sex. It'll control him more than anything else in his psyche. And so this guy who's screaming, shame, shame, shame on the House floor is the same guy now that needs to point that finger back at himself. I mean, come on, you shouldn't be getting caught doing this stuff. That's a big problem.
Well, right. Okay, well, so you're saying just it's okay to do it, just don't get caught. But Steve, what about your position?
Yeah,
that
stupid.
Men...
I mean,
go ahead.
We're not. Listen, if you look at nature, Dr. Drew, we as human beings, we have the only thing that separates us from animals, really, and you know this, is the frontal lobe of our brain, which is simply a filter to tell us not to do certain things. But the bottom line is our foundation as men, we are programmed to want to mate with as many females as possible. That's millions of years of evolution. That's not my theory. That's just the way it is. So when you get a guy like Weiner, and all of a sudden now he's got power, and girls are saying, oh, I'm attracted to you, and he has this very unnatural technology that exposes him to thousands of millions of women possibly, he can take access to that. He's basically, all he's doing is acting on his natural instinct.
Our frontal cortex is actually the one part of our brain that helps us regulate emotion too and understand consequences for one's behavior.
Yes.
And so, to me, his position is just simply a very infantile position.
Steve, you're a little boy.
Are you kidding me? Let me tell you something. Why don't you study people like Carl Sagan and Anne Dryan wrote a book called The Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, and you'll see that it's the foundation. Just as a woman, listen, ladies, try to stop wanting an alpha male. Try to stop not wanting a strong guy. You are programmed to want the best, strongest man you can get with. That's just science. That's nature. This is nothing we can fight against. It's who we are as animals. We all put on these suits and this air conditioning, etc., but at the foundation of all of us, we are animals, and we will respond to what nature tells us to do. Now, I will agree with you on one thing.
Michelle's got a point, Steve. Hold on. Hold on, Steve. She's going to interrupt. Go ahead.
I have to say that the thing, Dr. Drew, is what I believe that couples are for each other, is that we actually, if we are partnered with someone who is willing to do the emotional work with us, meaning willing to be committed, willing to go through the conflict, if that means also birth and traumas, good and bad traumas, we actually can become our better selves through our marriages.
Okay, so
that's what I do.
So you're interested in having a stable monogamous relationship as being healthy and better. Steve, I want to
and so is my husband of 20 years.
Well,
Steve,
I want to challenge you.
She didn't address.
No, see, let me address it. You, I believe, are talking about the behavior of young men who are under the influence of a drug called testosterone. I get that. Young guys need to get that crap out of their system early, so when the levels start falling and they're not under the influence of that drug so profoundly, they can do something healthier, which is form a intimate, stable, monogamous relationship that sustains over time, that's healthy for children so they can raise kids in that environment. Every measure of male health shows that men are better off in a stable monogamous relationship. Every measure for children shows that they're better when a stable family, where the husband and wife are together and love one another. It is possible. I'm here to tell you it's possible. It is possible. Now, I'm not sure I could have done it at 23. I don't think I could have when testosterone was making me crazy. I understand that biology.
I have to say, what you're also missing is that women cheat as well. To me, cheating is about the inability to control one's impulses and the need for instant gratification.
Well, and that's where the addictive piece gets in. Steve, I want to talk to you about one other thing here. Now, I think that cheating is whenever you're engaged in a behavior that if your partner walked in the room and saw you doing it, he or she would not like it. It would harm them. It would hurt them. That's everybody think that way. When you're doing something, imagine your wife's or husband's watching you do it. Think how they would feel. But
that's a good
how do you think? Okay, good. Do you think men and women differ in terms of their response to, say, online texting, online intimate conversation. Let me ask you, if your girlfriend or your wife is online chatting with some guy, does that bug you?
No, not at all. And I'll tell you why. Because first of all,
well, what if she's sending pictures?
I'll tell you why. Well, we might have an issue with that. But listen,
all right. So the picture. All right.
So women consider going to a strip bar. And if their boyfriend or husband goes to a strip bar, women consider that cheating. Women consider emotional cheating,
I absolutely
which
disagree
I don't agree with. It has to
hold on.
You can in a second. Zipit.com. 1 second. The bottom line is that it's only cheating if there's physical contact. That's how I define it. I think flirting is healthy.
I think a lot of it. Let me say,
take it too far.
I mean, Steve, I feel like you have a tendency to lump an entire group of gender into these statements.
But it's true.
And it's very, how do I say, it's very base. It's very base level. Addressing
it's true.
These issues.
We're men are base. We're all the same. We're all the same.
Well,
Guys, first of all, this is a television show, not a documentary. I only have a finite amount of time, so I have to speak in generalities. That only makes common sense. The fact of the matter is, plumbers, politicians, carpenters, or architects, we're men first. That's why Clinton did it. That's why Schwarzenegger did it. I can go on.